everyone. Hola. Mi nombre es Marisol. My name is Marisol, and welcome to our Learn Spanish from Bridgerton series. Today, I actually have a really fun lesson. It is basically to show you that you already know a lot of Bridgerton season 3, episode 1, because we are going to cover cognates. And so, cognates are these wonderful little things where they're the words in two languages that have a similar meaning, spelling, and pronunciation. So that's really good for you because before I go into all the words that you don't know, I want to just tell you already, like, if you watch the episode right now, you'll probably, and you switch it to Spanish, Latin America, audio and subtitle, you'll probably understand like good portions here and there. Like you're gonna have like nice surprises during the episode. And so I still think this video is important because I want to make sure that you're conscious of them, right? That way you don't miss them with the anxiety or nervousness of, listening to a lot of Spanish at once. So if you practice these cognates ahead of time, when you go to the episode, it'll be a lot easier to recognize them and parse them out from the rest of a sentence that like you might not know. The last thing about cognates that's really nice is that at least 30% of all words in English have a related word in Spanish. Mind you, I'm not going to show you like all the hundreds of those. I'm only going to show you 30 cognates today, and we will be listening to 2 audio clips from the episode itself so you get used to it, to listening to it. And there is a principle that I have available where you can go over 80 of the cognates that show up in Bridgerton season 3 episode 1. But again, I'm only covering 30 today. So let's dive right in. Autora, autora, notable, notable, confianza, confianza, carisma, carisma, melodía, melodía, aventuras, aventuras, detalles, detalles, honorable, honorable, caos, caos, fortuna, fortuna. Now I wanted to get you to start practicing your listening. And so we're going to listen for a bit to a section of Bridgerton season 3, episode 1, where they say one of those cognates that we just went through. So we have here the audio.
Por fin, la alta sociedad de Londres ha regresado y, por lo tanto, también esta autora.
So let's go over that together. So they say, por fin la alta sociedad de Londres ha regresado y, por lo tanto, también esta autora. At last, London's high society has returned, and so too has this author. Now, I know at first it sounds like there's a lot in that sentence, but if you start practicing to just tear the sentence down to the words that like you for sure know, this is what it might look like. So we would know Sociedad de Londres, regresado. Regresado sounds like returned, so technically that's another cognate. Y, you might know y already as an and. And then autora, we just learned in the previous slides, which means author. In this bare bones version, you would then understand that it says London Society returned and author. So the gist of this is that London Society returned, and you can assume that it means that the author returned too. So even though you might not know the rest of those words that I grayed out, you could technically watch Bridgerton in the first like 50 seconds of the episode, season 3, episode 1. This sentence shows up and you'll understand it, which is amazing. So, okay, let's keep going to the next part. And I'm only going to show another snippet, but this is something that you should do by yourself when you have, if you download the list of the 80 cognates, you can go through that list and like try to spot them while you're watching the episode. So let's go to the next part. Corona, corona. Familias, familias. Válido, válido. Situación, situación. Inusual, inusual. Transferir, transferir. Propiedad, propiedad. Inevitable, inevitable. Falsificación, falsificación. Competencia, competencia. We're going to do one more set and then we'll do a listening exercise again. Minuto, minuto. Centro, centro. Insecto, insecto. Microscopio, microscopio. Atención, atención. Afortunada, afortunada. Accidentes, accidentes. Resistente, resistente. Mercado, mercado. Personalidad, personalidad. Okay, so this time instead of doing 10, we did 20. I know that was a lot. It's okay. You can pause the video, go run outside, take a little break. And as always, you can go back and rewatch this so you can again practice your ear listening. So let's do another audio exercise. We're going to listen for a bit to a section where they include one of the cognates, two of the cognates actually, that we just went through. So let's listen to it.
Esperaba una conversación. No esperaba ser inspeccionada como si fuera un raro insecto retorciéndose bajo un microscopio.
Okay, so that one was a lot more, but it's okay. We can break it down. And you get bonus points if you know who exactly said this in the episode. So the sentence goes, esperaba una conversación. No esperaba ser inspeccionada como si fuera un raro insecto. And then she says a word that honestly you don't really need to learn, but is basically like just an insect that's moving. I kind of get grossed out by it, so I didn't even want to put it here. So it ends with bajo un microscopio. So she's technically just talking about like how all the men like are looking at her like she's like an insect under a microscope, and they're like, you know, inspecting her and stuff. So this translates roughly to, I expected conversation. I did not expect to be inspected, as if I were some rare insect under a microscope. Now, I wanted to do the same exercise that we did earlier with taking away words. And you might notice that esperaba and expected kind of similar. So you might have known that esperaba is to expect. Conversación is another cognate, technically, with conversation. No is not. So there's a section where it's like, I was hoping conversation, but feel to that sentence where it's like, but something else happened instead. So no esperaba inspeccionada. So if you don't know, again, like the word ser, that's fine. Inspeccionada sounds like inspected, so you probably would have known that as well. And then insecto is a cognate with insect. And lastly, with microscopio is microscope. So when you pair that down, it looks like I expected conversation. I did not expect inspected insect microscope. So you can understand that in that scene, she expected something and she didn't get it. She got something else instead with the word insect and microscope. So technically, like that whole section that she was expressing is like negative. Like she had a bad experience talking to other people at that dance. There's like a dance scene. So as you can see, like you can totally watch this episode and know what's going on in Spanish. Spanish audio with Spanish subtitles. I always recommend you watch the episodes first in English, but if you're here, you should be a Bridgerton fan. You should have already watched them in English. So now watching them in Spanish is just really just about like recognizing all these surprises of words that you know already. So okay, I'll leave you guys. If you want the full list of 80 Spanish to English cognates, you can get a free printable with the link that I have below. And that file includes a link to an audio where you can hear me say all the 80 words, both in Spanish and in English. So you can practice listening and then go back to the episode and try to find in the episode the 80 words that you already know. So amazing. I will see you guys next time. This is the beginning of a series. So bye.